from the Victory Studios in downtown Little Rock, this is Capitol View with your host, Jesse Tenor.
Good Sunday morning to you and welcome into Capitol View. I'm Jesse Tenor. Hard to believe, but we are almost a week out from Election Day. A lot of you may have already made up your mind on the candidates and issues, but in case you haven't, and to check in with their campaigns for the first time on the show since the primary, we profile this morning the candidates for Arkansas governor. Republican Asa Hutchinson is trying to secure his second term against Democrat Henderson and Libertarian Mark West. So joining me now back on the show, Governor Asa Hutchinson.
Great to be with you, Jesse.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming back on. It's crazy that we haven't talked on this show since May, really. A lot has happened. So why should voters, just going into this, give you a second term? When you look at state history, you would be just the second Republican to get a second term in the governor's seat, and the only other one is Mike Huckabee.
Well, the first test of re-election is how did you perform and did you keep your promises from your first term? And whenever I campaigned for governor the first time, I said I wanted to have a $100 million income tax cut. I said I wanted to put computer coding in every high school in Arkansas, and I wanted to be the jobs governor. We've done exactly those things, and then even though we've created 70,000 jobs, reached the lowest unemployment rate in history of Arkansas, it is still about the future. And what I'm excited about is the opportunity to continue to grow this state, to improve education, and so I've set out my priorities for the next term and the vision for Arkansas, and I think that's what the voters hopefully will respond to.
And I know education is important to you. This past week, the state's education commissioner, Johnny Key, he rejected the Little Rock School District's tentative agreement with the employees union, the Little Rock Education Association. So Key is now seeking a waiver that would essentially make it easier for the district to terminate employees at these underperforming schools, the DNF schools that were recently released. And when you look at it, that comes to more than half of the schools in LRSD. And so, I mean, what did you think of that move? We're already seeing protests from the Little Rock School District.
Well, it's very critical that we make sure that our Little Rock schools are performing, and whenever you see underperforming, low-performing, and failing schools, we have to do something about that. The children are too precious. We have to assure a good education for them, and so this is a matter of making sure that we've got good teachers in the schools. Most of them are very, very excellent. But you know, the commissioner believed that we needed to have authority. The legislature actually gave that whenever you have failing schools, that you can waive some of the traditional regulations on them. So we just have to do more for our kids, and I know that's what the commissioner is trying to do, the superintendent is trying to do, and most of the teachers are trying to do. That's one of the reasons that I've advocated for this next 4 years. We want to raise teacher pay in Arkansas from where it is right now up $4,000, so it'll be the highest minimum salary of any of our regional states. And so we want to continue to invest in education, but we don't want to neglect our major city and the education of our kids right here.
Do you think it would lead to teacher shortages to where the raises may not even matter to try to bring more people in? I know that two Democratic lawmakers, they were at the press conference with Key, and they were upset after the fact, just saying, you know, when you look at all of this on a map, it just kind of doesn't make sense as far as the schools go.
Well, are you speaking of all of our schools, or are you speaking
Little
of
Rock?
Well, in terms of Little Rock, I have confidence we'll have the teachers to do the job in the classroom. Teachers are dedicated. They want to do the right thing for the kids. We're building new facilities here in the Little Rock. We're upgrading those. We have to be able to compete with not just the charter schools here, but we also have to compete with the other alternatives from Cabot to Conway. I mean, we want to make sure we have the best school system right here in Central Arkansas, and that the kids are not being shortchanged. But it's also about building and bringing people to this city. We have to have a top-flight educational system. So I have no doubt that we'll have the teachers that are needed for there. We're going to pay them what is needed, and we want to have the flexibility to make sure that we have good teachers in the classroom.
Throughout this campaign, healthcare has definitely become a big issue. I feel like that's the main thing that you guys have had to field questions on, of course, namely the Medicaid work requirement. I know that you and your opponent, Jared Henderson, you both support the state's hybrid Medicaid expansion program, Arkansas Works, but then when it comes to the work requirement and the fact that more than 4,300 have lost their coverage either from failing to comply or failing to report, I know that's where you see a little bit divided and interpret those numbers differently. So, I mean, I've seen that you've said that 1,000 people, though, have been put in touch with jobs.
Actually, it's 1,500 now. 1,500. Because of that notice that went out to them that they have to be in work or in training, we've been able to move people into employment. They've got training that they've needed, or they just had the job services that they needed. And so that's what it's about. It's not to be punitive. It's to move people to work and to enhance their training. Whenever you look at the 4,000 or so that had to cut off from their insurance, these could have been people that have moved out that didn't, or their spouse got insurance, or they started making more money and they just didn't want to bother to have to report. So this saves us money. We'd be irresponsible otherwise. The work requirement is very important, and it's a clear distinction between myself and my Democratic opponent, that work requirement is really important for the balancing responsibility and compassion, and I think that's a balance that strikes well for the people of Arkansas.
You and your opponent also agree on something else. You're both against Issue 4, the casino amendment. First off, why did you take that stance?
I've always been against the expansion of casino gambling in Arkansas. Right now we have some limited venues in Arkansas. So I just state my position. I think that there's an underbelly that goes with the casino gambling, whether that is in Oklahoma or Las Vegas. And I want to see Arkansas build in terms of our industrial growth. I want to see more jobs that come in that are long-lasting. The average jobs that we've created, that we've signed agreements for, is $20 an hour. And so that's the kind of jobs we want to create, and I think that's a more stable future for Arkansas than the expansion of casino gambling.
And then a second part to that question, I know that you're a supporter of the will of the people. Take medical marijuana, for example. So let's just say, you know, if the people do pass Issue 4, I know that a big chunk of the revenue would go to the state's general revenue fund. And so I know that long-term highway funding is a big priority for you this next legislative session. Is that something you would fight for, or would you fight to get it to go to schools, or how would you decide on that?
Well, a new highway plan is part of my agenda. Whenever you look at the future, it's about transformation of state governments, about raising teacher pay, it's about additional round of tax cuts, but it's also just about this and making sure that we can have a new highway plan. This casino amendment, it's unknown as to exactly how much money it would bring in. That's not what you build a highway plan on. If that comes in, you just build that into your budget for the needs of our state. But I don't believe it's going to obviate the need for a new highway plan. You've got to be careful about, we should not, whether it's medical marijuana, whether it is casinos, we should not be developing our public policy based upon revenues to the state. You need to develop public policy as to what's the right direction for us. And so whether that brings in revenues or not, to me, is not the issue. The issue is whether it's the right direction.
And then since we're so close to the election, I have to ask you this, since we're profiling the race later in the show. Who'd you vote for Little Rock mayor? Have you voted yet?
Well, you know, I'm still a voting resident of Benton County.
Okay, I didn't know if you were official
so
or not.
I'll be going up
if
there
the governor's mansion's Little Rock or not.
And it is a hot mayor's race. It's very important for Central Arkansas, so we'll see what the voters say.
Okay. Anybody that you'd hope to see?
I hope we have great leadership that believes in law enforcement and our school system.
Okay. Well, Governor, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
And stay with us. Coming up after a quick break, we welcome Hutchinson's opponent, Democrat Jared Henderson, back on the show. You're watching Capitol View on Sunday morning.
Come and enjoy a new experience in shopping for your home. At Aladdin Rugs and Home Decor, we have over 5,000 rugs in the latest colors and styles. Bring your pillows, your pillow shams and sizes. We will help you select the perfect rug. We're #1 in customer service with 15,000 square feet of rugs, unique home decor, wallpaper, and flooring. Remember, buy today, take it home today, and save. Why wait?
Hi folks, Bart Sherwood, Sherwood Tractor. At Sherwood Tractor, we offer the #1 selling tractor, mowers, and outdoor power equipment in the world with a first-class service department to back it up. We sell a full line of Mahindra tractors, implements, and side-by-sides, Bad Boy zero-turn mowers, Cub Cadet outdoor power equipment and side-by-sides, and steel power equipment. We have all the equipment to handle every need you may have around your home, business, or on the farm. Come and see us today at Sherwood Tractor in Rosebud or Blackwell and buy the best equipment in the world. Remember, at Sherwood Tractor, customer service is #1 and your business is always appreciated.
Sold it. Pulaski County Absolute Real Estate and Personal Property Auction. Thursday, November 15th, starting at 10 a.m. at 9812 Interstate 30 in Little Rock, Arkansas. A move-in ready mixed-use facility with a 3,000 square foot office, 13,000 square feet of warehouse space, excellent Interstate 30 visibility with billboard signage, and a daily traffic count of 80,000. Also selling a Mercedes SL560, a Triumph TR6 convertible, Polaris slingshot, barbecue grills, appliances, and a hot tub. Everything is seller regardless of price on auction day. Go to WilsonAuctioneers.com.
Sold it. Grand opening savings and 36 months zero interest financing too at FFO Home. Power reclining leather sofa, only $15.98. Get our exclusive Serta Shadow Creek Queen mattress, only $198. 5-piece dining room, $598. Check out our flyer for pages of great furniture buys. Lamps as low as $38. See how you can get a 3-day, 2-night getaway. Save up to 50% during FFO Home Savings Celebration.
You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
Welcome back to Capitol View. You just heard from Governor Hutchinson about his campaign. He has a lot of plans in motion already for a second term, but a Democrat is still trying to make that all for naught. Joining me back on the show is Jared Henderson.
It's great to be with you again.
Yeah, thank you for joining me.
Sure.
So, yeah, I know we haven't talked on here since May.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's gone by fast. I'm sure your life has gone by faster than mine. So, just catch me up on your campaign. Yeah. Right now, why should voters make you the 47th governor of Arkansas?
Yeah, well, I think we're bringing ideas that speak to every community about how we get and keep our best educators in our classrooms, how we reinvigorate small businesses, especially in rural communities. I also think we've got stark differences on our priorities in healthcare, and I think that our ideas are better to strengthen rural hospitals and to keep local economies strong.
I know that education is one of the biggest parts of your platform. Of course, this past week we saw some big movement with LRSD. The state's education commissioner rejected the Little Rock School District's tentative agreement with the employees union. We've seen protests even later this past week, just based on the fact that he essentially wants to make it easier to fire employees based on these underperforming schools. And so what did you think of that move?
I think it's the wrong move, and for two reasons. One, I think our fundamental challenge in education in Arkansas is that we need to be making teaching more attractive. We need to keep and empower our best people. We need to attract the best of the next generation into this profession. I think this takes us in the opposite direction by giving teachers less certainty. It's making them feel disrespected, and I think that's bad. The second reason that I feel that this is wrong is I've talked to leaders that have turned around schools, including some in Little Rock. And I've asked them, do you need teacher fair dismissal weakened or waived in order to improve a school? And they have told me decisively no. And these are teachers, or these are school leaders that have not only produced results, they have had, in limited circumstances, needed to let teachers go, and the current laws aren't inhibiting them from that.
So why do that then? Why make that move?
I don't know. I don't know, and I won't guess what the intentions are of the commissioner or the governor. I just will say I disagree with it. I think we need to go in an opposite direction if we're going to strengthen our schools, and that means investing in teachers. Teachers want healthy and fair accountability. They do. They know that the foundation of a good education system is high expectations for students, for educators, for principals, and for a commissioner and the governor. And so I think we need to listen to them when we think about how we pursue this.
And then you did bring up healthcare too. That's obviously been a big part of this race. I feel like that's the main thing that you guys have been talking about. You both support Arkansas Works, but then when it comes to the work requirement, that's where you're split.
Yes. Well, I call it an internet requirement because I think that's basically what it is. We're living in a state that's 49th in internet connectivity. Until very recently, the only way that you could prove that you deserve to keep your Medicaid coverage was on a part-time website. And we're talking about people that are most likely to have limited access to internet and other resources, and I think that's wrong. Medicaid not only provides health insurance to some of our neediest people, it also makes sure that hundreds and even thousands of doctors doctors and nurses don't go uncompensated for their care. It's kept some of our rural hospitals open if you look at states that have scaled back Medicaid. And so I think this is a wrong decision, and it's something that I would want to reverse as governor.
The governor did just say that 1,500 of these people were able to find employment. Yep. Is that encouraging, at least?
Listen, I'm fully supportive of work. I'm fully supportive of able-bodied people working, but I don't think Medicaid holds anyone back from that, you know? The governor can cite people that have gotten work since they've been on Medicaid, but I don't think that has anything to do with a new website being created to make them report into the state every month. I think having health insurance is an enabler of people being able and willing to go to work, not an inhibitor of it.
You and the governor also are both against issue 4, the casino amendment.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a two-part question. So first, just what don't you like about it?
Yeah, well, you know, there's a couple things. I think the main thing, though, is that if you really look into the details of this amendment, independent analysts have said that it will actually cost the state about $100 million over the first few years. And, you know, the upside of casinos typically is the revenue it produces to invest in education, to invest in infrastructure. And at least over the next several years, this bill would take us backwards with no plan to fill that revenue. That's the main reason I'm against it.
Now, as governor, though, I'm assuming you would support the will of the people. So if, you know, the people would decide to pass it, yeah. I mean, you can't.
Listen, the job of the governor is to execute the laws. And so if the people of Arkansas vote for a new law, I think the governor has to get on board. You know, I look at like the medical marijuana law that was passed a couple years ago. Patients, including some veterans, are still waiting for that law to be executed. And I think it's outrageous that it hasn't been. So, you know, it's not my job to disagree with the voters once they made a decision. We need to get it done.
So if you would be in that leadership position to tell the legislature, this is what I would like you to do with the state's general revenue fund that should get a pretty big boost from this, at least from what we've been seeing, would you try to direct money to highways, schools, anywhere particular?
You know, we'd have to look at the whole budget. Of course, I've made it very clear, and we put out a detailed plan. We do want to increase teacher pay in the state, particularly in our highest need areas. So that's something that we need to make sure is clearly funded. That would be our top priority. You know, we still do need to figure out and make some real decisions on how we're going to fund our highways too, so I think that would be high on the list as well.
Okay, and then looking ahead to 2020, it sounds like that's when at least the bulk of this redistricting would happen with constituencies, and then also when the governor's plan of reorganizing his cabinet would kind of be hitting all at the same time. First, would you go along with that plan?
Which the governor's Well, I need to learn more about it. You know, in terms of what the governor's announced, you can tell that some boxes have been moved around on an org chart. But to me, the question, if we're going to reorganize government, the key is getting really clear on what we want it to achieve for people. You know, for 40 years in this country, we've been in this big government versus small government argument. And I think the real question is, how do we get smarter government? You know, whether it's DHS or the Department of Education or any other department, we need to have very clear goals that each is going to achieve that are tied to things we want to be true for our citizens. Those goals need to be public. People need to be able to look them on the website. And we need to report on those every year. To me, that's how you build smarter, more effective government. That's what I would want to see happen. You know, with respect to, you mentioned redistricting. You know, I don't know what the governor's plans are on that, but I know what we need to do is we need to take this out of the hands of politicians, whether it's me, whether it's the governor, or whether it's anyone else. I think it is wrong when politicians choose their voters instead of the other way around. We need to set up an independent commission to draw our districts in this state.
So depending, I mean, say if you're elected, Mike Lee's elected, and then Susan Inman's elected, 3 Democrats, and then they would all decide.
Listen,
those are the 3
I will stand by this. Even if Democrats have all the power, the right decision is to still make this independent. We need to take politics out of this so that we get districts that are in the interest of the people, not in the interest of the politicians that are seeking office.
And then, Jared, since you're a Little Rock resident, I have to ask you before we go, because we're profiling this race right after this, but who'd you vote for Little Rock Mayor?
I'm not going to tell you that. I have voted. I tell you what, I could not wait to go vote this year.
You went on the first day.
I sure did, and I was obviously excited to vote for myself. But you know, the voters in Little Rock, they've got some good options, and I think that's one thing almost everyone I know agrees on. I know a few of the candidates personally. I think Little Rock's going to have something good in the mayor's office on the other side of this election, no matter what.
Okay, yeah, a lot of tough decisions before November 6th, and it's coming up quick. 11 days. Yeah. All right, Jared, thank you so much for joining us. And when we come back, we show you what a day on the campaign trail looks like for the men hoping to become the next leader of Little Rock. You're watching Capitol View on Sunday morning.
Factory Direct pool table sale going on now at Family Leisure. Factory Direct pricing on all of the best brands. Save 20, 30, even 50%. Hundreds of in-stock tables. Buy it today, enjoy it tomorrow. These great items also on sale now. Don't miss out. Factory Direct pool table sale going on now at Family Leisure.
Sold it. When my father passed away, we had to move his estate. So we contacted Wilson Auctioneers, and things that would have taken us a year to do gets done in 30 days.
Sold it. Curb appeal. Does your home have it? With a new iron door from Arkansas Custom Iron Doors, it could. From traditional to modern, we have a large inventory of beautiful iron doors in stock. Or we can custom design one just for your home. Whether you're remodeling your existing home, building a new home, or commercial space, we can help. And financing is available. Call us today, stop by our showroom, or browse online. Arkansas Custom Iron Doors. If you can dream it, we can custom build it.
We work very hard to make each customer feel special. I want our customers to feel appreciated. Whether it's your first time or your 15th time, we cherish that. So come see us at Cecil's. See what it's all about.
Cecil's Fine Jewelry. We want to be your jeweler for life.
Susan Inman is running for Secretary of State. She's got a lot of experience running elections. Her opponent has none. Zero. Susan's got a big idea.
Arkansas should do its voting by mail.
Voting by mail would save millions of dollars and prevent voter fraud by requiring voters to send a copy of their photo ID with their ballot. As Secretary of State, Susan Inman will work to enact vote by mail, making our elections fairer, safer,
and less expensive.
Volunteer sports coaches give their time to impact our children's future.
Subway Restaurants, Fox 16, and KRK want to recognize youth sports coaches through the Standout Coach Contest.
Visit fox16.com or KARK.com for details to nominate your coach. They could win a $500 Subway gift card. Factory Direct Spa Sale going on now at Family Leisure. We've received truckloads of spas at discounted prices. Save 20, 30, even 50% or more. 4-person spas only $12.99. Swim spas as low as $99.99. Don't miss out. Factory Direct Spa Sale going on now at Family Leisure.
Each day, researchers make new discoveries that bring us closer to the moment when all cancer patients can become survivors. Some days they take small steps. Others, huge discoveries lead to giant leaps forward. This progress, both small steps and giant leaps, happens with the help of clinical trials. Clinical trials are a fundamental path to progress and the brightest torch researchers have to light their way towards better treatments. And if you've been diagnosed with cancer, they may be your brightest ray of hope. Clinical trials introduce new hope in addition to the current standard of care by allowing researchers to provide participants access to cutting-edge and potentially life-saving treatments. So if you're interested in exploring new treatment options while helping to light the path for other patients, clinical trials may be the best choice for you. Speak with your doctor and visit standuptocancer.org/clinical trials to learn more about clinical trials. Together we can stand up for all of us.
Watch KARK4, local news that matters, tonight. You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
Welcome back to Capitol View. This past week, our show's executive producer, Mark Mosley, and KARK anchor Ashley Ketz gave us exclusive access to the men hoping to be the next mayor of Little Rock. They spent an entire day on the campaign trail with Vincent Tolliver, Frank Scott Jr., Warwick Saban, and Baker Curris.
Little Rock has an incredible opportunity in this moment to realize, I think, what has been a long-term dream of the city, and that's a Little Rock that's united.
Fine with Little Rock and you're fine with the business as usual and the status quo, I'm not your guy. But if you want someone that's going to truly lead the city and create some positive disruption and change the city and change it for the better, I am your guy.
I really do hear the same things everywhere I go. We're not as divided a city as I think people think we are. I've identified the same challenges, and most of the time they identify the same solutions.
Annie Abrams said it best. The rent for living in this life is service. And that's what I want to do. And I want to serve everybody. That's the thing nobody gets. They don't understand it. They say that's too simple. How can you just want to serve? Well, if you want to serve everybody, north, south, east, and west, southwest, people of color, people who live in the Heights, everybody in town, you begin to get a sense of why I'm running.
Maybe you haven't decided yet who you'll vote for as the next leader of the capital city. To see Mark Nashley's full coverage from the week, you can visit our website, krk.com, and you can also get a behind-the-scenes look on Twitter with the hashtag #MeetYourMayor. And we're back to wrap it all up after this. You're watching Capitol View on Sunday morning.
Sold it, sold it, sold it.
Daco General Contractors Absolute Retirement Auction, Thursday, November 8th at 10 a.m. 4.4 acres on Highway 65 in Damascus, with an office building, 2 shops, and equipment canopies. And every piece of equipment will be sold, including John Deere tractors, backhoes, trucks, trailers, power tools, and much more. Everything selling regardless of price. Go to wilsonauctioneers.com.
Sold it, sold it, sold it.
Come and enjoy a new experience in shopping for your home. At Aladdin Rugs and Home Decor, we have over 5,000 rugs in the latest colors and styles. Bring your pillows, your pillow shams, and sizes. We will help you select the perfect rug. We're #1 in customer service with 15,000 square feet of rugs, unique home decor, wallpaper, and flooring. Remember, buy today, take it home today, and save. Why wait?
Hello, I'm Mike Rainwater, and I applaud the efforts of KARK and Fox 16 taking a stand to create a safer Central Arkansas through their Victory Over Violence campaign. At Rainwater, Holt, and Sexton, we do our part, so each month we feature a difference maker. We give $1,000 to a group or organization that truly makes an impact on the lives of others. It'll take all of us to declare victory over violence.
You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
And that does it for today's show. Don't forget, you can now take Capitol View on the go with you. Download the Capitol View podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. We're back with an all-new Capitol View next week, our special pre-election panel just 2 days out from the midterms. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend.